I'd give you 3 thumbs down to drag your name into the ground. And on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd give you 0 if I could.
Welcome to another episode of Zero If I Could. My name is Raul Zambrano.
I'm Brittany Hersbrun.
And I'm Jake Disharoon.
And with us today is our guest, Chase Brocket. Hello.
Hi, Chase. Hello.
Hi.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
I know the one nice thing about being remote is that we can get people who we would never be able to do before. So that's very nice.
Yeah, because you've been asking me before, and I told you had to fly me down. And apparently I'm a nobody. So
we have to fly you down and put you up, and that just wasn't in our budget.
Yeah, we checked with our accountant, and we couldn't afford to put you up at the Sheraton, so it didn't really work out. But maybe
I don't sacrifice Sheraton or nothing. So
I know, I get it. Man.
I mean, you're a man of quality. It's fine.
I am. Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine staying at a Hilton Garden Inn?
I like Hilton Garden Inns.
Yeah,
well, you're a person of
right now doesn't.
Yeah.
So just go with it. Ugh, disgusting. Can you imagine?
You're just a woman of poor taste, Brittany.
Well, I wanted to update everyone that Jake got a dog specifically just to prove us wrong because we said on the podcast that he didn't like dogs. So
I feel like you're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say I'm only getting a dog. That would be incredibly cruel. To just get the dog,
and yet you did it.
I agree.
You're
it's
a bad
for the
person.
wrong reasons. 100%.
I had the dog because I had so much love to give. That's why. And now I have a very small animal.
Look how miserable
right over
he
there
is in the background.
Yeah, he keeps a cone on her, and she doesn't even need to be wearing a cone.
I just don't want her
to.
Yes,
I don't want her to make eye contact with me. So that's
much
a good way
Much like we all had also told Jake that his walls were a little like he needed decorations and stuff on his walls so he doesn't look like a fucking serial killer,
Yeah.
And then suddenly now he does.
He has 2 posters now.
He has 2 posters now on his wall and a dog. And just the amount that we have, the amount of influence we have over him.
Rafifi right there.
All right, what do you guys get? What's the next move?
I don't know. What should we make him do next?
I don't know. We made fun of his headset so much he's not wearing that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I wore that one time.
That was too much.
I still own it, and I didn't like wearing it. I prefer these, but I
like how you rationalize the gaslighting. It was my idea. I decided not to.
I don't like wearing that headset. I had to wear it one time.
Jake, just be honest, when the cameras are off, do they hit you?
I'm so glad you asked me that, Chase.
On the record, I know they're the ones who have to publish this, but if you could get to the send button fast enough.
You can be honest because Raul will cut it out. It's fine.
Is there such a thing as emotional battery? Is that something?
Yeah. It's called emotional abuse. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I got. I got that bad from these 2.
I think the next thing that I would like to influence into Jake's life is him getting a bed frame. I think that would be good.
I do have a bed frame.
It seems like it's just a mattress on top of another mattress, maybe.
It's a mattress on top of a box spring on top of a metal bed frame.
You gotta see into your 30s. You have to get a bed frame because I had that mattress and like that metal frame thing that you always hit your toe on, and then so you have to transition to like a full. I mean, you do like pine or something because I have delicate toes now, but it's from years of bed frame abuse. Just
I mean, a nice, beautiful bed frame would be great, but they're pretty expensive.
Mine was like $100. Yeah.
Was yours gifted to you, Raul? Because his is the most ornate bed setup I've ever seen. His is the opposite problem. It is so large and big. You have to jump onto it.
I have to jump on my bed, which is fun, but also like some days, it's just like I just want to fall into my bed and not have to hop, and do an
like a running start.
yeah, exactly.
You honestly do, but into your 30s, that's a problem as well. You're not going to be able to be as limber to get up.
You'll have to get like a little step stool.
But if anything, that'll give me a little more motivation. Like I gotta do more squats to get that hop. to keep it. My parents also have a similar bed setting, or like their bed is also very high, and they're like in their 50s, and so like
So
I
this is
imagine,
legacy.
yeah, I guess I think that's just their taste, and they got me this, or like they'll like this one, which I do like it, but it is pretty fucking high,
You just look incredibly annoyed by something your dog did. Like you were gonna smack it or throw it
Yeah,
across the room.
I fear for your dog's life after. He's so cute. I fear for your dog's life after this podcast.
No, my roommate was knocking at my door, which
Oh,
I think he's only done maybe twice, and both
times we're on the podcast.
And you live alone? Oh my god.
yeah. Jake did say that if the dog kept peeing inside, he was going to get rid of it, even if he'd had it for like a year already.
Did I say that?
Uh-huh.
You remember a lot of things that I say that I don't remember saying. And
That's really
You
weird.
have a bad memory.
Yeah, but
I
I
don't
would
know.
have said, hold
Chase,
on.
how well do you remember high school? Do you feel?
I remember decently well.
Okay, because
Yeah.
Jake literally remembers.
You remember
nothing.
trauma well, so.
I guess it was a breeze for me because I have. This is true. Raul and I met in high school, and I know that because
He has no
has
clue.
told me that we met in high school. I don't.
Like more than a couple times.
We had a class together, right?
Yeah, we had.
Okay, yeah,
we briefly had French class together, and I had taught because we were both metalheads growing up, and so we also had separate lunchtime metal conversations.
Oh, so you
And
guys
he
like
remembers
converse?
them.
Oh, I mean, I believe you, but I have to go on your word because I have no data stored in my head that would indicate that that's true. I'm just like, I don't think he would lie about that, so it must be true. But I don't remember pretty much anything that happened before I was like 28. That was when I started.
This is great on my end because I don't know which one of you is actually telling the truth.
I have
promise
an
you, I am
amazing
telling the
memory.
truth.
I remember so many details of like the most dumb things. I remember my ex-boyfriend, I would refer to like moments of time because we knew each other for like 15 years, and I would say something, and I think he thought that I just placed so much significance on our relationship that I remembered like every little detail. But I'm like that with like everything.
Yeah, it might be good to just play that down a little bit for ex-boyfriends. Just like, yeah, I don't think.
Isn't
Wait,
that
6
like-
months? We went out for 6 months. I thought
Isn't that like pretending to be dumb for someone? I don't need to pretend to have a bad memory to date someone.
No, it's not the same thing. You're not pretending you're stupid. You're pretending that you don't care that much about them. It's very different and
You're
much
playing hard
more
to get.
Yeah.
I just say as long as you don't weaponize it, because I would have
No.
I had an ex and she would be like she'd mention offhand like a friend and I'm just like, who? And she'd be like, I told you it was this person that you met at a party 2 years ago and they were like boyfriend or just like the partner of this person. I'm like, I don't know that person or this party. And then she'd be mad at me and then I was like, I'm not wrong, your friends are boring.
Although that is a good way to be able to like, if you are angry at your partner, but you don't have a specific reason why, it's like, I got to get this out somehow. Let's fight about this. I'm gonna get mad at you for not remembering my friend who I met 3 times because she was like my cousin's roommate's boyfriend.
Well, she had a good memory, so she'd be like, she would just be able to recall something, and I was just like, not everybody's like, the Rain Man of acquaintances, like so.
It is weird to me that like I don't understand how other people don't remember stuff, but I guess they don't. Not everybody's brain works the same way, Some people like Jake, very dumb.
Are dumb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a goldfish. It's just one moment to the next. I'm rediscovering the world every day.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful when you think about it like that.
Yeah, exactly. I would like that. That'd be nice, actually. But Chase, we normally ask people if they have ever been reviewed about or had a harsh criticism said to them.
Doing stand-up, yeah. I've had some harsh criticisms. I was thinking about this. I think this isn't an intentional criticism, but it comes off that way because I was hosting a show that I was enjoying, and I'd start off the show, and then I would make people laugh and feel good, and then bring up the comic. And at the end of the show, people would come up, they go, "Oh my God, that was so good! You should do stand-up." And I was like, "Oh no, I did that." But I think so. One of the weirdest, though, this was something that actually popped into my head. I don't know if you guys remember. Not many people knew about this, but there was an app that you could download. This was like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was called Lulu, and it allowed you to just not go on and anonymously like rate men with a T.
Oh, maybe.
And yeah. And so I had a friend, and I had just moved here, and she was just like, "Hey, you're on this thing," and I was just like, "What?" And so it just rates you based off of, all this, like these criteria. And I hadn't been here long enough for it to be like, oh yeah, it was probably this person. I was just like, I haven't really dated anybody, like nothing. But it was like the thing that bothered me. It was like a decent rating. It was just like good manners and stuff. But it said like, when I first saw it, it said like I was a good kisser, and I was like, all right, that's cool, all right. And so they gave me like an 8 out of 10, and I was just like, all right, solid B. And then below that it said sense of humor was a 5, and that hurt. And so I was like, because they liked only half of what I did with my mouth apparently, and I could never find out who did it because it was just one on there, and I was just like, like I said, I was freshly here, and I was just like, I don't even think I've dated anybody. So it's either somebody I did and forgot about because I was having like a Jake moment, or
Sure.
or somebody was just making it up, but I don't know. And then it was just like I said, it was like an overall like a C+. It was like what I did in high school as far as like my GPA. But yeah, so that was a weird anonymous thing you could do to make somebody question their sanity and their self-worth.
Yeah,
That's really awful.
that app sounds really bad to exist. That sounds awful.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I thought it
do
was-
you think you would ever use it, or would you take it seriously or anything? If you
Would I use it? Well, I think it's for women only, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
thought it was
asking.
just
Brittany.
used to warn girls against like rapey or scary guys. That's what I thought it was for.
I mean, maybe that's what it was, but it turned into just lunchroom gossipry.
But it's sort of like how Facebook was created to rate hot girls at Harvard, but now it's something else.
It's
entirely.
expanded to.
I do think it's a dangerous app to have, though. I don't like that.
My thing would be like, I need to tell every woman I know, if you see me on here, never tell me. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Good or bad, I don't want to know, because I could not live with. Yeah, if I got a 7 out of 10 on kissing or whatever, I'd be like, what step was I missing? What was I doing? And you can't like call your ex and be like, hey, this was you, right? Give me notes. I need to improve.
Yeah, there's too many pitfalls there that you could fall into.
Oh yeah.
I was just happy because I was like, I feel like kissing is like a team sport, so I'm just like, the other two was them. They maybe were bringing that extra,
Yeah, that's a positive way to look at it.
I'm curious if you two are on there now.
I don't think I looked it up recently, or this was like a year or so later, and it just turned into like a full-blown dating app, and it was just bullshit. And I don't even know if it's around anymore. But for a while, it was just creepy.
Yeah, I kind of remember that being a thing that people were talking about as like pretty gross, and it is. So I'm glad it's mostly gone. But I remember I had I dated a girl for a couple months who I worked with, and then like we broke up after maybe 2 months, and then a year later, another friend of mine told me that she was like talking shit about me while we were dating. And I was like, why? Okay. What do I do with that information? I haven't seen her in a year. We're not in contact anymore. You just told me something that I could feel bad about, but gain nothing useful out of. It's not like, oh, I got to cut her out of my life. She's gone. She might as well be dead to me. But now I know.
It was just like a postcard of self-esteem issues. Just like Telegram. You're awful.
What sorts of things did she say about you?
I wisely did not ask any follow-up questions.
I just thought maybe they would have just offered up the information.
No, she just said that, oh yeah, she talked shit about you. And I was like, cool. That sucks.
Yeah.
I hate her now.
Chase, have you ever written a review about anything?
I don't think I've actually gone through with writing a review. I've thought about it. Like I've wanted to review people before in general, but I feel like there's probably a blind spot of my own that as soon as I like criticize somebody else, I'm like, I'm going to see the thing in me that I'm like, okay. I think the only time I really wanted to write a review, and this might've been before like Yelp was ubiquitous, but like there was a United, I think is probably the thing I hate the most. And that I would write a review on because it was like a decade ago. I was flying up here and there's a connection from San Diego to San Francisco to Eugene, Oregon, and we got stuck in San Francisco because we're taking off from San Diego because they have that like flight curfew, right? Like they can't take off at a certain time. They got to wait till like morning, so that it's like a beautiful takeoff. I think they're just trying to show off the sun. And then so we took off like 20 minutes late, and then we landed in San Francisco. And the guy on the intercom was just like, "Don't worry, we've already rebooked you automatically. You don't got to worry if you got a connection." And we're just like, "Oh my God, United! You guys are really thoughtful. This is amazing." And then we get to the desk, and then they're just like, "Oh, that flight took off. You got to be on the standby for the next one." And I was just like okay, well, it's in the air. I obviously can't run and catch it. And then, it was just I ended up being there for like 8 hours because they kept bumping us for other people, and we would like watch our names go from like 1 and 2 to 3 and 4. And I went up to the guy and I was like, "Hey, what happened?" And he was like, he goes, "Oh yeah, they is a Premier member." And I was like, "Oh, so they just." But and he's just like, "I don't know." And then I was like, "Is there somebody I could call or figure this out?" And then he just like would turn away and ignore me. And then on like the third flight, he took us down to he's just like, "We got you on. There's room for 3." And then he takes us down like the walkway to the door of the plane. And then he looks in and it goes, "Never mind," and then pushes us back up.
I like
the
that. I like that they have the exact same system as open mic comedy. Just like, oh, like sorry, we got kind of a big shot coming in. Well, you'll get the later spots.
Carol's giving it. She's got some frequent flyers, and we really need to cash those in. She brings the crowd. Yeah, and then so we were stuck there for 8 hours, and then there was just like one guy working the counter, and then I was just like, "Hey, what can we do? I'm not mad at you. I know it's not your fault because I'm always trying to be like considerate, and I realized as I'm getting older that nobody gives a shit. So I'm like, yeah, and then he was just like, no, and then would just like ignore me and like dodge me, like, and I was like, dude, this is it felt so surreal, and I was just like, if it wasn't going on for 8 hours, I would have assumed it was like part of a setup, but I'm like, this is like the worst prank show that you just drag on for 8 hours for like 2 minutes of footage. And then eventually I wrote to United and I was just like, "Hey, you guys are awful." And I think I probably said something like the only thing that's united is us against you, or something like that. Just like really sting them, just like that we're united in that we hate you.
How do you get a 5 out of 10 on sense of humor with lines like that? I don't understand.
And gems.
And then so that was it. I think I probably cut that line out, but I did. They gave me like a $200 voucher. They're like, "We're really sorry for your inconvenience." I go, and I was dumb because I was like in my early 20s, and I was just like, "Yeah, $200. I guess that's fair." And then I like saw what a CEO makes, and I was just like, "Oh, fuck you."
Yeah.
It is weird that the one thing that they like they use to apologize, like, "Hey, I know we are so bad, we suck ass really bad, so here's a chance to experience that once more on your next trip. We can fuck up in new and spectacular ways." We all went to Vegas a while ago. This was pre-pandemic. This was the beginning of 2020, right? I think it was January of last year.
Yeah, it was like right before.
So I flew, and everybody else that I went with, these guys and Caitlin, they drove, and the flight there, flying from LA to Vegas is like 45 minutes. It's nothing. It's a quick flight. Yeah. So we fly there, no problem. And then when I was going back, it was Frontier Air, by the way. Never again. It's Frontier Air. I was just sitting and I was just like waiting, and they weren't even like really saying anything. I was like, I feel like they should be calling people by now. So I asked, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be another 15 minutes." And I was like, "All right." And I sat back down, and then 15 minutes later, they made another announcement. Like, "Oh, it's going to be 30 minutes. Like, "Oh, okay." And then they kept doing that. And then eventually they were like, "Hey, we don't know how long it's going to be." They just kind of copped to it. Like, we got a guy out there. He's working on the plane. I'm going to stop guessing for the sake of you and myself. I just don't know when this is going to happen. And there was a guy, on the flight who was supposed to be on the flight who was like yelling at the customer service person saying like, "I used to be a mechanic. Let me go out there and fix this plane so we can leave."
I would be like, please no, God.
yeah. I'm like sitting listening to that and like, I hate this company, but somehow that guy I hate even more than the company that's fucking me over. I'm like, this is a pompous asshole. And by the time I got on the flight, everybody else had made it home driving. It's like a 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, if I had driven, I would already be home by the time I boarded the plane. But hey, I got a $45 Frontier Air credit for that. So
Hey, that'll get you round trip
Yeah.
America with Frontier. So
yeah,
pretty good.
but
And-
never used it. I can't remember why.
We drove and we were playing really fun games that you would have liked too. So I remember.
Oh yeah, they were
really,
improv related. I
Yeah.
was awful at it. You would have had a
Yes.
blast.
They involved accents. You
Oh,
missed
Oh, you
out.
would have murdered
Crushed.
it.
I would have
Mhm.
crushed.
Stupid.
Yeah, it's probably the worst decision I've ever made to fly instead of drive.
But you would have driven alone, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
You wouldn't let me in the.
Well, you
Car.
were in a separate city. You didn't
I
live,
know.
so just all right.
All these
I-
details are coming out, and I'm like, ooh.
I have a review for Target. It's a 2-star review. It says, I have a few simple questions for you, Target of Mission Valley. Why does your escalator smell like rotting chemicals? It seriously singes my esophagus anytime I'm in here. Very annoying. Why is the floor of your snack bar always covered in filth? Your hot dogs are my favorite everywhere, and it is very distracting to try and enjoy my treat when I feel like I am traipsing across the deck of a slaughterhouse. Why the hell are your parking spots so effing small? I drive a Jetta, which is by no means a large vehicle, and she does not hardly fit into any spot I have ever seen at your establishment. You're starting to give my vehicle a complex about having 4 doors, and I don't appreciate it. Why do you always already have Christmas stuff out, and why did you lure me into buying Christmas cards in October? Why is your profile picture more closely resemble a Mexican jumping bean and not a very clear bullseye? Bleh. Here's a question to the writer of this review. Why must you continue to go here?
Oh, that was from
That
the
was
writer to
From
her.
her
writer
to her.
herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyone that says that they are going to get themselves a treat is just an absolute freak. There's no normal
Well-
person says, "Oh, I'd like to get myself a little treat."
It's
Well,
especially
I like,
Dog.
yeah. You know what I really go for right now? A hot dog.
That's a nice little treat for me.
and the Target hot dogs are the best of anywhere.
Sure. Yeah. Take a hike, New York City. We got the best hot dogs in the world right here in Mission Valley
The
at
only
the
thing
Target.
you can refer to a treat as like an ice cream. I feel like a hot
Yes.
dog is such a
Yeah, that's not
gross.
a treat. That's a shitty meal. That's like a divorced fucking.
She also wrote another review about Target where she complains about how the elevator smells like butthole or the escalator. So it's a very
I've never noticed any escalator having any kind
How
of
tall
scent.
is she?
yeah. I
Is it just,
don't.
like,
It's just like 3
laying
foot, just,
down?
like, everywhere I go.
yeah, it's just everything smells
The
like shit.
ass level everywhere. And she's just, projecting.
Yeah, that is a little too specific of a comparison. Just say it smells like ass, but butthole specifically is like, now I have to assume that you have smelled that directly before to have the comparison. If you say it's bad, I get it, but it smells like ball sack. Like, why? Why do you now have to imagine you like riding the escalator and be like, what is that smell? What does that remind me of? It's taking me. Oh, it's ball sack. That's right. That's
I'm
right.
also really confused by her Mexican jumping bean comment.
Yeah,
because-
because she's complaining about the logo specifically for this Target, but aren't they all the same logo?
They're all it literally there's nothing else it could be but a bullseye. I'm not sure if it's a bullseye. Like I just don't
Yeah.
understand any
Yeah,
of
they
the
were rebranded. As they started, I don't think.
Yeah, if the store's logo is a Mexican jumping bean, that is a different store. That is. This is unfair to Target because there's no way that's a Target.
yeah. And she also refers to her Jetta as a
Jetta.
living thing. So she's just an awful person.
Gendering her car. What a fucking freak.
and it
Yeah.
having what was it a size complex or whatever? Or having,
Yeah.
My
I
car
thought that
feels
part
bad.
was bad for having 4 doors. That part I was like, I guess it's kind of funny. I don't know.
But like a two-door car isn't smaller.
No, it's not. It's
It's
just more. It's just harder to get in and out of.
Yeah, so like if she had one door, it would still be the same amount of getting out. You know, like she's not getting out of all four doors.
Right.
She's not like she's not parking with all the doors open and being like, I cleared the first two, but these last two, now I feel self-conscious about this.
Yeah, I feel like she might be doing that. We don't know.
I like
Yeah.
that she left 2 stars.
Yeah, that's nice. I guess.
That's what caught me. I was like, what was the redeeming part?
Well, they have her favorite hot dogs.
Oh,
Not,
that's true.
not that one though. Because
Also, lady, you ever tried Costco hot dogs?
That's your rebuttal is like
Yeah.
a different
Know your
department
hot
store
dogs,
hot dog.
right? They're huge. They're delicious. You know, just
Hey, you ever been to a Walmart with a Sparrow in it? That's what I'm fucking talking about.
Get a little culture, lady. You know.
are hot dogs delicious?
No.
I feel like everybody says that, and then every time I have one, I lie to them too. I go, "This is really good," and then I'm not enjoying it, and I see the same death in their eyes, and I'm like, "There's none of us. We're all lying to each other, but we record as kids, so we had."
I think we just get them like out of desperation. Like I'm starving. It's just the perfect thing to get. Like just eat something.
When I was living in San Diego, I would do that with Dave Callens. We would go get Little Caesars pizza. And we would, because it was like, I called it poverty pie. So I'd just be like, Dave, you want to go get some poverty pie? And then we would get it and we'd be like, this is terrible. And then we'd eat the whole thing. But we weren't lying to each other about what it was.
That's
right.
true.
You were conscious of like,
Yeah,
we got to choke this down. You know,
the cheese it just sits on top like it's a separate layer, like it's a hover. I don't know. So I'm just having flashbacks of this. Like it's just, you can separate it. It's like on a hinge. I don't know how they do that.
that's how you get a $5 large cheese pizza. Is you have
Okay,
to do
it's
it
not
that
really
way.
large though. Let's be real. It's not really large. If you only have one size, it's the size it is.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
But if you go to any outdoor bar during COVID, you have to buy food. And all of these places just have hot dogs now because they're not really food establishments. So they always make you buy a hot dog while you're drinking. And I think I always give mine away. And then the people I'm with are eating like 3 hot dogs and like taking shots of Jameson. And it's so gross.
Hot dogs with Jameson. It sounds god awful.
It's like the new pickleback. Hot dog water and Jameson.
I once ordered a Beyond Meat as a vegetarian. I ordered like a Beyond Meat hot dog with it was like a Beyond sausage or whatever, and it tasted fine. But the one thing where it really failed me is that the sausage looked like a long human shit. So I saw it and I was like, I know this isn't actually shit. So I'm going to cover it in like onions and peppers and stuff so I can't see it. And it tasted fine. I'm sure it was fine, but I would think about that for like weeks. After I ate it, I would like, God, just remembering what it looks like, and then I would get sick.
It's just haunting your dreams at night.
Just because it looked that bad. I'm like, man, Beyond Meat is usually pretty good, but they really fucked me on that one, I got to say.
Yeah, it's something you think about for a while because there's that also downtown San Diego, that like gas lamp hot dog place that's 24 hours. And I got it after going to a bar once when I was really drunk and I just threw it up everywhere, like throwing up hot dog. So yeah, can't do it. Can't do it.
Hope nobody's
Right.
eating while they're listening to this.
I don't think anybody's enjoying a meal to this podcast.
Honey, gather round, set the table.
It's our favorite radio play.
All right, Jake, do you have a review for us?
Sure. This is a review for Playdoh on Amazon.
The toy or the philosopher?
You know, it's the toy, but I always wondered if Playdoh was named after Plato. I don't know if that's like something they
What
wrote
would be
out
the
or something.
correlation?
Well, there's none. I mean, there's no relationship between the two products, or the product and the guy. But
I think it's dough that you play with. So
That's more likely what the.
yeah, no, I'm aware of what
Okay.
it is.
Okay.
But I was just saying that it sounds.
Well,
Okay,
you
here's a
were just
review. 1 star. If only I had looked at the pictures in the review. These are the stupidest amount of tiny. The most tip-top stupid amount of tiny. I feel like they made these containers just to trick Amazon buyers into thinking that these would be flippin' normal-sized Play-Doh jars. I am upset about this purchase. So there. I give you a 1-star review. but there's so many of them, and I don't feel like returning them. So I guess my niece and nephew can just make teeny tiny little creations with their teeny tiny little hands. Does it work like that? Whatever. I want my normal size Play-Doh, you guys. Come on now. 6 people found that helpful, by the way.
It would be helpful, I guess, if you were going to purchase it.
I like that she said, "So take that," or did she write that, or were you adding that? Oh, so she actually.
I was
did.
not editorializing.
Okay. Yeah, it
some
sounded
ethics.
like she was like in an RPG or something. She's like, "Haha, take that!" Like she cast them like some sort of spell. I don't play RPGs.
Yeah, touche. She
yeah, like haha.
She owned
and then,
the
I like
Hasbro
I like
company.
the hubris in that.
Just the phrase "teeny tiny" that she repeated multiple times.
And but there's also
get it.
they also said tip top at some point.
Tip top stupid.
Too stupid.
Tip-top stupid. I love that. I'm going to call people that now.
Tip top stupid tiny hands.
Yes.
How small is this thing actually, Jake? Do you know? Or I
Probably
bet
not
you-
that small.
I feel like I've seen those like mini Play-Doh things,
Yeah,
and they're
it's sort of
like
this big.
Yeah. Like, you know.
I mean, if it's
fine.
like an inch tall, that's insane.
They are. They're
That's-
like little mini ones, but I don't know what they're for, because clearly not to
Teeny
be.
tiny hands.
Teeny tiny
Yeah,
niece
for
and nephew.
teeny tiny. Yeah, but small things are cute. So if they send you like 1,000 little Play-Dohs, it's kind of cute. I don't know.
I guess I never really thought about it like that, but yeah.
I also think it's really stupid when people buy stuff on Amazon and then get really upset about it, because there are like 9 different ways that you can return something on Amazon that are all very easy. And so just like have a UPS driver pick it up from your house the next day. You don't even need to box it. And like this person it would take more effort to write this review than it would be to return your Amazon purchase.
But in this case, they're too small for her to feel justified in returning.
Too teeny tiny?
They're too
Teeny
teeny
tip
tiny.
top.
They're the too tip top teeny tiny to return. So
I think it would be very funny to bring 100 teeny tiny things of Play-Doh into a UPS store to return to
a
Amazon.
trash bag full and just like slam them down on the counter.
Is this a hazardous material? Am I allowed to ship this? And then she has her niece and nephew with their teeny tiny hands put the stamp on it. Just like real.
Did you guys ever
Yeah,
play with
teeny tiny
Play-Doh?
creations.
Like, were you guys a fan of playing with it?
we were poor, so we had Fun Dough.
Oh, that's the
Oh, wow.
off-brand version.
Yeah, which was like if somehow it was like worse. Like I don't know how you could make Play-Doh bad because it's like basically just like flour and food coloring, and they're just like
not
look,
keep its form very
it just
well. Or
wasn't.
what?
It just felt like it didn't care.
Was it
You
too
know?
dry? I bet
It wasn't even too dry. It was like the same but you just
When you
touched
ate
it was
it?
just like nah. You know,
Oh,
it just seemed there was no spirit in it.
didn't
Yeah.
have that
It's fun,
spoonful
though,
of
isn't it?
love that Play-Doh puts in.
Yeah, that little French kid.
I'm
Got the
thinking
beret and
of
stuff.
like rose crayons, colored pencils versus
Yeah.
Crayola.
Yeah, the rose art. The
Rose art
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Rosecrans was from Shakespeare, I think.
Oh, just getting all mixed up. Yeah, but those were very shitty, and we always got those
Yeah.
because Crayola is expensive.
They
so.
were. It's like $1 more.
Oh, speaking of,
Splurge.
I found.
Oh my
Hey! Oh, well, Brittany just held up her Crayola pencils.
Yeah, I'm
Cool.
in my sister's old room at my parents' house, and they were right next to me.
So you just happened to bring up colored pencils and you had a prop right there.
Yeah.
That's serendipity.
Is that the Bader-Meinhof frequency illusion when you talk about something and then you see it a lot? It's right there.
You got a couple
Wait,
extra
what?
words in there.
Wait, what?
I need to know what you're saying. Bader Meinhof?
It's the
frequency.
Bader-Meinhof frequency illusion, right?
Bader Meinhof. Don't say that like we're supposed to know,
No,
right?
Jake
I
is
know what you're
telling
talking
me
about.
too many words. What else? What is it called?
I've never heard it. I've just heard it like the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, but maybe it's the frequency illusion. But yeah, it's the thing where
Oh,
like,
so you're in on this too.
the Bader-Meinhof effect is like when you
That's
hear
an
about
effect.
something for the first time, you start noticing it out in the world. Like you first hear, I don't know, about some historical event, and then you are constantly hearing people reference it, and you can't explain
Oh, it's like white people and racism right now.
it. Yes, that's
They're
the
just like, oh
Bader-Meinhof
my
shit.
god. I was
It's
thinking Honda
everywhere.
Fit. All of a
About
sudden there's a Honda
this
Fit
crazy
everywhere.
thing?
I just learned about this, and now it's like everywhere.
Everywhere.
What is up?
They just
It
roll
is
this out.
exactly like that. Or it's kind of like how I once noticed a car behind me with only one headlight. And now every time I drive, I see a car with one headlight. And it really kind of scares me a little bit. I feel like it's a bad omen or something.
Yeah, I assumed you were going to say, and then the next car I saw was being driven by Jacob Dylan, the lead singer of the Wallflowers. They have a very famous song called One Headlight.
Oh, yeah.
Chase reference under his breath.
Thanks for catching me on that one.
I got you. Same way, Link.
Speaking of bad omens,
Ro, what were you going to say?
I was going to, speaking of bad omens, I have a review here for a Oujii board.
Ooh.
Spooky.
This is a...
I don't know if we should read this.
Yeah, what if we get cursed by a ghost
or something
for
We'll see.
talking about Oujii board?
Well, I don't think I don't think we would get cursed because this is a 5-star review for a Oujii board.
I feel better.
Okay.
And it starts off, love it. My son died and he contacts me through this board.
Oh my God.
I bought it so I can experience and communicate with people from other worlds. Spooky enough, the board has disappeared from my room. I asked everyone in the house and no one has seen it or touched it. It has just disappeared in thin air like some soul came and took it with them. And that's
Your son doesn't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, if you following the logic there, your son is like, all right, this is enough. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I got other friends. He's growing up.
I really thought it was going to be a fake 5-star review, but that's really sad.
Yeah, I almost feel bad for making fun of this person with a dead child, but Raul is forcing my hand.
Did anybody find that useful?
14 people.
Wow.
Okay. Did any of them respond with a 1-star that said they could not talk to that woman's dead son?
So 14 people found it useful means that 14 people were like, so my son died. And I need to figure out, how do I contact him? I've heard of Oujii boards. Let me look into the reviews. Oh, okay.
Oh.
And then he stole it. That's even more mysterious. All right, this is very helpful. I think I'm going to purchase this Oujii board now.
I love how somebody in her well, it's actually really sad. Like probably one of her other kids had to
Was
throw
just
it
like,
away. They're like, you are in your
let's
room
take
day and
this."
night.
This is pretty dark.
Do you think if I got a Oujii board, I could talk to my previous dogs?
Yeah,
Probably
I mean, you
not.
should try it though, for sure. I mean,
So-
we'll see.
But they would both have to, first of all, ghosts would have to exist, A. B, dogs must have ghosts as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. C, they have
C.
to know how to spell things, or
Right,
it's
they
just
have-
it just says bark every single time. It's just bark, 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 bark.
Yeah,
They
if you just
know-
only get barks back, then
They know
you
yes
might have
and
something.
no, so that it's
Okay.
spirit.
So you would only
But-
ask yes and no questions.
But would
Are
they
you
recognize the words yes and no on a Ouija board? Can they
So
read?
I would say this is yes and this is no to them.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you have a plan. So
Okay, I'm gonna try.
I do think it's funny how much magical energy people ascribe to Ouija boards. It's like they're made by like Milton Bradley.
Yeah.
It's just a board game company. It's like
I would-
they're
I
right
would love
next to
it-
the Monopoly factory.
I would love if you went to the board where they were building it, and then you go in, and they had like some sort of shaman in there. Like everyone's, they're just walking in, they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then there's just like an old guy just goes incanting over it, and you're like, "The fuck is that guy?" You go, "Oh, he works on Ouija." And you're like, "Oh, okay."
I legitimately would never use a Ouija board.
My mom's
Right, because they suck and they're fake. Right.
No, just
No,
because I would be
she
scared.
would be
You're scared of them.
terrified.
I did it
100%.
when I was a kid, but I would never do it again now. I just think you don't need to invite. You're just asking for trouble. But what
Just
were you
say
going to
you
say about
believe
your?
in it. Say it. Say you
I-
believe in it.
I don't believe
You
in it,
believe
but
in
I'm
it.
scared of
You
it.
believe in it.
You
I'm
believe
scared
in
of a
it.
lot of things that I
Yeah,
don't
a
believe
little
in.
bit.
Okay, but what were you going to say about your mom, Chase?
Oh, she had scared me as a child because she said she did one when she was a kid, and that nobody else was home, and then she was doing it, and then there was like footsteps in the house, and then she went to go check, and there were like all the doors and windows were locked, and I was just like, I don't like when I was a kid, I was like, oh, it's terrifying, and then as an adult, I was like, I don't think that was real, and then so if I did Ouija board now, I'm already set up to like, oh, there's gonna be like a ghost, and I'm not like afraid of it because I'm not like really afraid of ghosts, because every time somebody talks about seeing a ghost, they just get scared, and then that's the end of the story. There's like nothing else happens, right? Like if nobody's stuck around when a ghost is there and be like, what do you want? And they're just like, this is as far as I figured out so far. And then that's like that's their only plan, is just show up and then go, all right, I got a place to be. But then now I would be disappointed, because I'd be like, I know that's not going to happen. So then it's just like me trying to, and there's no spell check on it. And as I get older, I'm getting worse at spelling. And so I'm just like, it's just going to make me self-conscious.
Ooh, that's like a good way to test if it's real, is have someone that doesn't spell very well.
Those are people who use Oujii boards. And
they're summoning the spirit of someone who was like an English professor or something like that. And it's like, oh man, it's weird that after this guy died, he forgot how to spell receive or whatever. Like he just completely lost his ability to spell or use grammar correctly. It's weird.
They keep spelling lose loose.
Last time I used one, I was in Wisconsin visiting family, and we were in a basement at my aunt's house, and I was playing with my older cousin, and we were using it to ask if he was a virgin. And he was very obviously like, no, I'm not doing it, but like going to know. And now I know he didn't lose his virginity until he was like 24. So yeah, Oujii boards aren't real, guys. That's how I know for sure. That's the
But you still wouldn't use one, though.
I would not use one, no.
But you do know for sure that they're fake.
They're fake, but
I heard
also, what if you get cursed?
Exactly.
All right. Can't argue with that.
Okay, so this is for San Diego Mesa College, and it's a 3-star review. It says, "Oh man, I am seriously slacking on my reviews for the year. Hate it. But don't worry, I'm getting my creative writing out in college English class, writing about super interesting fictional short stories. Ugh, good thing I have a good professor. Otherwise, I would just cut my head off with material like fictional short stories. Anyway, so now that I am a really big girl in college, my view on the work has totally changed. The parking game here is really nuts and infuriating and crazy and psychotic and nuts and insane. Why are there 23 parking spots for 900 million students? And why are there 57,000 staff spots? Make them park a mile away and bus them in. A lot of the classrooms are so ramshackled and run down that they gross me out, and I have a hard time focusing. I hate that. That is what I get for going to community college. Although there is nothing wrong with community college, I'm sure universities have much nicer classrooms. The Allied Health building where my English classes, go figure, is really nice, and the coffee lady is super sweet. I also wish the landscaping were more attractive, so when I have to spend the 2 hours between classes on campus because I'm terrified to leave the parking spot I fought for 4 hours to get, I'd really like to feel like I'm sitting somewhere serene as opposed to the inside of a bargain bin at Home Depot. Some professors are great, some chatter too much, some students are great, many are idiots who gripe about having to do work. Total bogus concept for school, right? I thought my teachers would do the work for me, and I really want to beat them with a stick. There's ups and downs to this place, but I suppose we will find those anywhere. I guess we'll see how my opinion progresses throughout my time here."
Now, was that a review or a letter to her parents?
Yeah,
That was insanely long. And
Yes.
second of all, it's just like all about her feelings and like her hopes for the future. Like that's
what college students are doing.
That doesn't really. I don't feel like I learned anything about San Diego Mesa College. I'm just like, I know this girl very well now.
I like Ramshackled was good.
Ramshackled.
I was like Ramshackled.
Good word.
Yeah.
Probably learned it in English class.
so weird to me when people write reviews as if they have a huge audience for them. Like she's like, "It's been a while. I haven't been able to write you guys in a bit, but I'm back."
Sorry, I took a break. It was for my mental health. Anyway, here we go. My long-awaited 4-star review of San Diego Mesa College. Let's get into it.
Wait, that was 4 stars?
It was 3.
Okay, that felt like a 3.
How gross is it that she thinks the teachers should
Should
have
be
to park a
busted?
mile away? And
That
I was like, ugh, you
That's pretty
don't like
fucked up.
teachers? What the fuck?
I couldn't tell her sentiment on any of that, because she was just like, she goes, not that there's anything wrong with community college, but she just spent the first preamble telling you what's wrong with
and also
community
how
college.
gross the classes or the classrooms are and stuff. It's like, okay, well, you're kind of giving away mixed emotions here about your experience.
Yeah, and also I went to community college and I transferred to a 4-year. They're the same classroom quality. Like one might have like an archway or something in the door, you go like, oh, look at that, and then the rest is dog shit, and then you're like sitting in there thinking a tile's gonna fall on your head, and you're like, tuition.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna pay for it. Is if that falls and hits me on the head, that's how I'm gonna pay for the rest of this.
That's why I think best not to go to college, because then you never have to deal with the disappointment of ramshackled buildings not living up to your expectations.
That sounds like such like a Bruce Springsteen lyric.
Does
Don't got to deal with the broken dreams of a ramshackle building.
beautiful.
I was listening to him on a podcast. He's fresh in my mind.
You were talking about the tile thing, and this is unrelated, but I just thought of this. When I was working at the madhouse, there was like a lot of the old school madhouse. A lot of the ceiling tiles were missing and stuff. And when it would rain, like occasionally there would be like leaks, But one time there was a leak in the main showroom, and there was like a bubble building on top of this table that people were sitting in while the show was happening, and we just all had to watch worry about this bubble bursting, and then because it was it was really developing, and then drops of like water started leaking into their drinks. And so we had to we just had to tactfully, just somehow move and be like, hey, why don't you, we have a new table for you guys. Why don't you guys come over here? And then we got them like all new drinks. And then eventually, once the show ended, that whole thing bursted. But luckily it was after the show. But it was like, oh fuck, that got real close.
Did they notice the roof water leaking into their drinks?
No, they did not.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So it was like, yeah, it was real close. And disgusting.
Could have
about
asbestos.
Ramshackled. Yeah.
It's funny because I never went to college at all, but when I do see people write about community college, sometimes I'm like,
Community college.
yeah. Anybody could go to community college.
Yeah, I worked at a movie theater. That's real. That's a real education.
I guarantee you I learned more there than a lot of people learned in college.
Wow.
Jake, do you have another review for us?
I do. And I apologize in advance because this review is racist.
Is it of a race?
It's not a review. Yeah, this is a...
They're like, here's what
in
I
a way,
feel.
it's mostly about a race. But the review is for The Art of War. And it's a 5-star review. It's also long, so buckle in.
Long and racist. All right.
I bought both books, the one here mentioned and the one I previously reviewed as his. No idea what they're talking about. It does not matter, as both are the same type of writing, that of Sun Tzu, and extremely important for us Westerners to know about. To the Asian mind bent on war and winning, a promise means nothing. Winning is everything. And the devious Asian mind has patience, has zeal, has a whole different set of values from that of the Westerner, with our sense of honor, quote unquote. If we have given our word, a promise to what has been agreed, we feel honor bound to follow through on it. To the Asian mind, the Asian mind would not, for example, take time off in World War II for Christmas as a time not to fight. The Asian mind would not comprehend this. And again, I apologize for how racist this is.
I'm like so uncomfortable.
If the goal is to win, ruthlessness is considered honorable. Winning is what it is all about. And the Japanese at the end of World War II are a good example. Having lost face at that time, they turned to business, entrepreneurship, if you wish to call it something, and determination to win the war of business. They succeeded immeasurably. They started with textiles as the least costly materials, cotton, and cheap labor. Once they acquired the capital, they put their money into developing transistors. Remember the first transistor radios? No. Eventually, even one with the great name General Electric, if you look inside, it says made in Japan. Next, they used the capital gains from these worldwide sales to develop television sets. Next, they went on to computer business. Somewhere in this mix, they developed cars totally superior to the American plan to rust out cars, and no longer did our cars start or fall apart in a short time. We have only our American businessmen to thank for their poor quality and cutting corners in quality. The Art of War, an invaluable read by everyone. Now. I'm sorry for all of that.
Okay,
But
first, does he think General Electric was in the military?
that is kind of how it seems. I don't know if they're trying
Because
to
he went
be.
from Sun Tzu to like post World War II, and
Yeah.
like he did talk nothing about the book, and it was written
Right.
like what 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, so almost none of that is about the art of war. It's just like, aren't these Asians crafty?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was confusing because at first he was talking about how much more honorable we were, but then at the end he was talking about how much better they are than us. So I couldn't really like get a grasp on his feelings towards them.
Yeah,
I think he admires them for being like shady. I think he's just
And-
like, that's what I want to be, and so he thinks that's what he's seeing in them.
Yes, if
Yeah.
I had zero honor, I could be like them.
I also I do like how he pointed out. He goes, "We're honor bound in the West. Like when we make a promise, we don't break it." And I was just like, "Dude, have you heard of the natives?" Like that was this whole country is predicated upon breaking a promise, and he's just like,
Yeah.
man, and I think it's like he thinks it's like a contemporary piece that was written in like the 80s. I guess is what it sounds like.
I don't know, because it's like the whole honor bound shit is like, yeah, maybe with medieval knights that was a thing, but in this day and age, I don't really know how much the amorphous concept of honor plays into business. And also, when I think of societies that value honor, I actually think of Japan more than like the United States. Like they actually care about concepts of honor. Like that's a thing that is cultural over there. And it's
Mhm.
not here. It's definitely not.
Yeah,
I wrote
person
We
is-
should really take a note from those crafty Asians.
was
I don't know,
that a
it's very
review
weird.
on Goodreads or where was that?
I think that was also on Amazon. Which I'm kind of surprised they haven't taken it down, because it is. You just
I
can't
think-
say the Asian mind. You cannot say that. That's not the Asian mind.
They won't even take Christmas off. Was my favorite
Well,
line.
Yeah, that is
You know those.
extremely funny, because like, well, why do you think they wouldn't take Christmas off?
Also,
why
I think
would
they
they-
celebrate Christmas. It's the same thing, you know.
Right. Yeah. Maybe if they celebrated Christmas, that might be more of a consideration. But since they're not Christian, I guess it just doesn't occur to them. to
At
take
least he was saying the Asian mind and did not say Chinaman, because I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was close, even though, yeah, he was like right there.
Also, that review was written by
I
a
said that, and
woman.
then everything froze. And that was by a woman.
It was written by a woman. So I think you've all revealed your unconscious bias that only men can be
Oh.
racist against Asian people.
well, men are awful.
My
so I do
mistake.
always
I-
assume that a review like that is
Actually,
written
based on
by
that
a-
review, it seems like women are awful. How about that?
Brittany?
Yeah, see, no rebuttal. I'm right.
Yeah, I think it was a man who wrote the review as a woman because he's a coward.
Oh, I guess that could be.
The woman's mind is much more palatable to the public. I will go under.
Yes,
Oh,
people
but
will
this is a
receive
guy as a
that.
woman.
I don't know why people just can't be like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't put this online and I should just think this in my own brain and never say it to anyone ever.
Yeah, you could just be like, boy, what
But
a
that-
valuable read.
Right,
Art
but
of
that
War
would be
classic.
that would take a little intelligence and self-awareness that I think a lot of people apparently don't have, and so I think
And
that's probably
then-
the issue.
I guess we wouldn't have a
Yeah.
podcast, so
Yeah, well, I think the type of person that would care very deeply about the art of war is like this type of person, this sort of like Ayn Rand type, just obsessed with having the correct business mindset, being like, I have to respect terrible opponents who have defeated me in the field of business battle by overcoming the great General Electric. All right.
Raul, you have a review?
Yeah, I'll do one last review and then we'll close out. So this review is for a place called Sky Surfer Balloon Company. It's for I'm forgetting the word actually. It's the air balloons.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it's for an
He's
air
like-
balloon company.
Hot air balloons.
Hot air balloons. Yes.
Wait, so you forgot the word air?
air? Yes. That was awesome. I was like, well, they're not just balloons. They're filled
Yeah, 'cause
with
you said
something.
Forgot the word, but I'm like, you didn't forget balloon because it's in the title of the
Yeah.
business.
It's a hot air balloon company.
Okay.
Right. It's a 1-star review. Says, all right. So it says, go to this place if you're into crashing air balloons. And also the pilot posting a picture on Instagram about how you're a bunch of cheap asses for not tipping. Sorry. After crashing into a fence, then a house, tipping was the last thing on anyone's mind.
Another thing I would never do is ride in a hot air balloon ever. They are.
That seems terrifying, especially because our friend Corey told us that he got like a hot air balloon, and the way that they basically steer and land this thing is it's just dependent on the wind, and they're just guessing how it'll go. And so like apparently when they did go, they landed like miles away from where they were
landed in
to.
someone's backyard.
In someone's backyard.
Yeah.
And so which I guess
did you order a basket of people?
That doesn't seem like it should be allowed. if you just can't know where you're gonna land, like what if you land in the middle of the Pentagon or something? Like,
this is a federal law. They have to let you if you're piloting a hot air balloon. Yeah,
they have to let you land
clearance.
on top of the Pentagon. Okay, well,
they go. All right. Somebody's breached the perimeter. They're like, "Is it a hot air balloon?" And they're like, "Yeah." They're like, "All right, you gotta let them go."
Boy, our founding fathers had such foresight. That's pretty.
Yeah,
incredible.
they were pretty good.
But how many things did they say it crashed into? Crashed into a fence and a house?
Yeah, so it crashed into a fence, a house, and then the pilot had, I guess, put him on blast on Instagram about not tipping.
Well, maybe that pilot really saved. Like maybe something went wrong, and that pilot saved their life.
Oh, this is like a Sully Sullenberger
Yes,
situation.
yes.
Yeah, in that case, for sure, the right thing to do would be to tip him for, give him a little something.
Yeah,
for
probably a goose got into the hot air balloon.
Goose?
That's what happened to Chesley Sully Sullenberger. The plane got hit by a goose, and I assume that's what happened here. And they barely escaped with their lives. They're lucky. This guy's a hero.
Yeah. Unless I die on something, I'm gonna tip someone. Like no matter how awful it is.
Yeah, but you just do the 15% instead of the 20. If it was that bad.
Sure. Yeah. If we crashed the hot air balloon, taking a couple percent off.
Yeah.
I don't understand why certain things got really popular for proposing to people. Like, why is being up in the air and something really scary with another person very close to you and proposing to someone like so romantic? I don't understand.
I mean, I think it's a good metaphor.
Okay.
Right? Like if you're with somebody proposing marriage and you're just like, what if we just like get in this rickety basket miles above the earth and then hope it goes well?
And if we get through this, we can get through anything together.
Yeah. The fact I never really thought about it, but yeah, there is just like a guy there. Like the baskets are not that big. And if you're proposing, there's just a guy like he's just holding the little
his form of like giving you privacy is just turning the other way.
Yeah.
It's just sort of averting his eyes like well, I guess I'll check my phone. We'll play Words with Friends while you guys do your thing.
Do you think anyone
how sometimes you have really bad anxiety and you're like, I just can't like deal with talking to a person or having anybody talk to me. I just can imagine having really bad anxiety, operating the hot air balloon, and then being like, I cannot hear this guy awkwardly propose to his girlfriend right now and listen to like whatever dumb speech he's gonna say. And just being like so uncomfortable.
And then she says
what
no.
She says no.
Yeah. And then you're in the hot air balloon.
Three of you are just in silence. Like no one is making eye contact. You're the balloon operator, just looking dead ahead. Like fuck.
That's when you throw the rope out and then you just slowly lower yourself and then tie it off at the bottom.
That's I wonder how many people have had sex in a hot air balloon.
No one, Raul. That's
the guy's still standing there.
I think somebody somewhere must have. Yeah.
Well, okay. By the way, the guy who pilots that could also have a girlfriend that he brings up there to bed.
I doubt it.
It has to be. Although it is fun, yeah. But if he's up there and he's not like, "What are you guys going up for?" Oh, we just want to see the sights and bang a little in the clouds. And he's just like, "All right."
No, yeah. I mean, I do think that would be. There's probably some girls that you would, or guys, I don't know, some people that you could get to sleep with you just by being like, "Hey, do you want to fuck on a hot air balloon?" They're like, "Okay, yeah, never done that before." That's a story.
This is a little tangential, but sort of related. I grew up in Bakersfield in California, and outside town, like this, it's not even a suburb. It's just like it's called Taft, and they did a lot of skydiving out there. So it made national news because this guy, they filmed a porn video of them jumping out of a plane and having sex while they were in the air.
Whoa! I want to watch it. That's crazy. Have you
And
seen
here's
the
the
video?
thing: I watched it. I saw the video, and it is the most boring but also entertaining thing because it's porn. So he's like, it's like the guy's being such a bro, and he's just like, and he's just like, this chick's so crazy, and then the girl's just like, I'm so crazy, and then he's like, yeah, she's so crazy. I'm just like, you're projecting, and then but because he was an instructor there, so he was the one who took him out, so that's why he had access to this. And so the best part is he is a professional, and so he is looking out for their safety. So while they're trying to be all like, he's also doing like safety checks, and you could see him really paying attention. And so he'd be like, yeah, look at the fuck, and then he'd look down at like the straps and just really double checks, and it's like doing it, and he's like, and so just going back and forth, and then they jump out, and then it's just like the wind, and then like he's like, she's strapped to him, and then she just is like overacting, and then she says she's coming, and I don't think she was. That's just my opinion on it.
Will you send me the video? I'm serious. I really want to see it.
I'll see if I can find it. It's probably on one of the popular archival sites for adult materials. But I'll see if I could track it down and send it to you.
No,
This is gonna be nothing.
It is not even a little bit sexy. Like there's no part of it that you're like, ooh, even this part. But the best part was how professional he was about the safety and making sure that they were going to be okay.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Did he wear a condom?
He had a tiny parachute.
Well, the reason I ask is because, like, normally in porn, when the guy's done, he sort of
Jizzes on her.
Yeah, I was gonna say he uses the pull-out method, but yes, if you want to be crass. So, if the guy came, he's like 1,000 feet in the air, that's got to go somewhere.
What if it landed on a random person?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't think she was strapped to him, so it wasn't like there was so little movement, and so I don't think he came. Like I think they were both just like, this isn't great. And then, but if he did come, if he pulled out or slipped out or something, I think it probably hit like a goose that goes into an airplane's jet, and then that's how you get the Sully landing. That's what happened. Probably.
And then no depth
So it's like,
perception.
hey, and then,
Goose is
yeah.
like, yeah. Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's a cohesive narrative. We've sort of created a little bit of lore with this podcast.
Yeah, that's the untold Sullivan story.
All right, Chase, we're going to start wrapping up here. Chase, is there anything you want to plug before we sign off?
No, comedy's dead for me right now. Actually, I am doing my first. Nobody's going to come to this, but I got booked for my first show in a full year, and it's at a sex club, so that's going to be interesting. It's on the ground.
You can
Thanks
follow
for
us.
having me.
Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you
Yeah,
for
thanks for
being
being
on the podcast. Yeah. You can follow us, follow the podcast at Zero If I Could Podcast on Instagram, and follow me personally at Raul Z Comedy. Brittany, where can they find you?
At Bitchney H.
Follow Brittany at Bitchney H. And then Jake, where can they find you?
Leave me alone.
All right. That has been our episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. And thank you again to Chase Brocket for coming on. And that's been our show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
I'd give you 3 thumbs down. Drag your name into the ground. And on a scale from 1 to 10, I give you 0.